What's up, YouTube? Capital G here, D&O commentary. We have Darius Glasgow 1547 versus S. James Brown 1660. Shout outs to James Brown. He's a bad soul, man. All right, so I believe James Brown went first, and I think he did the play where, well, I think the last thing he did was Valkyrus, and then he banished his Valk to add a spell to his hand. So I think he has a 6-card hand. Well, then he's about to get more with this card, but I believe probably about 2 of those cards are Nekroz mirrors. Not necessarily Nekroz mirror the card, but Nekroz mirrors in general, like Collider Mirror and the Nekroz cycle as well. So he's gonna take the Nekroz of Unicorn. All right, and what will be the follow-up play here? Darius just played, he played Tenki, he got Kama 2, he summoned it, and he just attacked directly for the 1900. And that pretty much catches us up. There's not much more to say about that. Alright, so he's gonna pitch Colossalus to get, I guess, Kaleidoscope. He would have thought that he would have had all his mirrors already in his hand. I don't know, maybe if he just, okay, yeah, I guess he didn't have it already. It's not like he couldn't have just got it last turn. Nah, I guess he would have had to discard then, so that kind of makes sense. Alright, so it's going to send Herald of the Arclight to the graveyard and summon the Nekroz of Unicorn. Fair enough. Arclight will trigger. Always have to be careful here because you have to start card counting. Cards like Exoton will ruin your day, man. Seriously. So I always think of Chaos Trap Hole in the main deck. You get that one Exoton, your opponent tries to summon it, you get rid of it, and don't have to worry about that motherfucker until the next duel. You're just like, it's a weight off your shoulders, man. You know what I mean? It's a weight off your shoulders. And your opponent can't Book of Eclipse it, they can't Book of Moon it because it obviously is a counter trap, spell speed 3. So let's see what's going to happen here. He goes for the Exoton play. If you have like Bottomless or Torrential, you obviously just go ahead and burn it because let's actually card count. I'm pretty sure they're even right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 5, 2, 7. So he's going to use Brio and then chain the effect. But if you like Bottomless here, then you don't have to worry about it resolving. Alright, so he'll use Brio and then chain the effect. This is a pretty elementary play. Activates, lose a turn. Yeah, that's not actually gonna stop it. Not sure why he didn't activate that much. Yeah, it was already summoned. Okay, my first lose a turn player. Yeah, it's already been summoned. He should have used. He should have what's it called? He should have used lose a turn way earlier in the duel. Because now he would need Book of Moon or something like that. The effect has already been activated. Let me just read this turn right quick. During the turn that it was summoned, negate all effects. Oh, you know what? Actually, no. I'm mistaken. It was summoned this turn. I totally interpreted the text of lose the turn wrong. So yeah, it's during the turn. I'm going to side with Darius Glassjaw on this. Just because Exoton has already activated the effect. Chaining lose a turn should resolve before Exoton does. Because this is Chainlink 2, this is obviously Chainlink 1. Actually, no. Brio is Chainlink 1, this is Chainlink 2, this is Chainlink 3. So it says, during the turn that monster is a special summon, negate its effect, and if it is a effect monster, special summon in attack position, change it to defense position. I don't know if it can, like, I don't know if all of that, actually I think, yeah, all of that should happen. So yeah, it says during the turn the monster was special summoned, but it was special summoned this turn. So it doesn't matter that he's saying that it was already summoned, but how does that matter? Lose a turn's text doesn't say if a monster is already on the field, it is unaffected by lose a turn. Like the game state remembers when a monster is still summoned. So yeah. Maybe he obviously must not have Book of Moon or Book of Eclipse. Otherwise, he'd just chain it, and this wouldn't even be an issue. But I still wonder why he waited to lose a turn. All right, so the admin's gonna clear this up, and it's still a fairly new card to me, so I got to make sure we know this too. He says he summons Exiton, chains the effect, chains lose a turn as chain link 3 after Brio and Exiton Knight. So lose a turn should be the first thing that resolves on this chain. As long as the game state knows when the monster is actually summoned. So he's asking, is there any other responses to lose a turn? Of course he has no response to the summon. He's using it on the effect. The summon is irrelevant. The summon is so super irrelevant. No, he's asking if he's using anything to chain on the lose a turn, not chain onto the summon. The summon is irrelevant. The summon had already been completed. When you use Brio, the summon went out the window. That was completely irrelevant. You've already attempted to resolve an effect after Exiton's on the field. So like the summon is irrelevant. Don't even bring that up anymore. Okay, so we're gonna figure this out. And I guess this will be the president for Dueling Network. I would say that it would negate it. He's saying that he wants to obviously chain to Exiton's effect. So let's figure this out. Admin, anytime now. The chain is resolved. James Brown is clearly not activating. He's clearly not activating any more effects. Okay, got it. He's saying that he wants to definitively make sure that he knows James Brown is not activating any more cards. If you're Darius, you don't need to do anything else. Don't be dumb and activate like Book of Moon or Evac Device or something stupid like that. Just say you're not chaining anything else. If James Brown is chaining something else, then let him. I mean, it's probably not something you can stop anyway. So, yeah. Hate when duels get slow and convoluted like this. So he says he's going to chain. Chaining Mystical Space Typhoon on lose a turn. And then he'll chain Fiendish Chain on Exiton Knight. Okay. So Fiendish Chain will just negate Exiton Knight's effect. Now, I would have much rather had my lose a turn than like Fiendish Chain, to be honest, but you know, I guess he didn't have 2 lose a turns. Why would he not immediately MST the lose a turn anyway? Like, to me, it doesn't even make any sense. Now everything about lose a turn just became irrelevant because Fiendish Chain. So now just resolve the chain. Okay, well then obviously if lose a turn gets MST, then like the ruling on it doesn't matter because it's not even gonna resolve. It's already destroyed. There you go. Then Brio resolves. Okay, so I don't know if he's going to answer the if question. If he didn't MST. He may answer that because the chain is already resolved, but I would believe that Exiton would have been negated. There you go. Because the game state knows when the monster is special summoned. Lose a turn works like skill drain. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so I mean, I would say that exchange definitely went in James Brown's favor. I probably would have wanted lose a turn. I think that card is like auto win against Nekroz. Fiendish Chain, not so much. I mean, he can probably get over Exiton Knight, no problem, but he might have to worry about additional monsters this turn. So he'll get his Brio effect. Have no idea where he goes from here. Also, he wouldn't have to worry about things like Trishula, and that's what he's going to search. probably attempt to summon too. Yeah, if you had lose a turn, you just wouldn't have to worry about Trishula in this turn. As opposed to Phoenix Chain. Maybe you throw out Phoenix Chain first. Throw out Phoenix Chain first when your opponent uses Exciton, and if they use the Mystical Space Typhoon, then throw out lose a turn. So I wonder what the chat was actually saying about that. I mean, and the thing is, there's no definitive, like, the way that they're ruling lose a turn, you know, can be kind of confusing. So, alright, probably gonna try and summon Trishula. Using the Shurita in his graveyard. Wonder if he has, I don't know, Trap Chick's Chapel Nightmare maybe? Okay, so he pays 9 stars, or banishes 9 stars. He's going to attempt to use the effect. And hits a back row card and a card in hand. Obviously has to lose 1 turn. Deprison and comma 2. So he's free to attack with Trishula into a dimensional prison. Alright, so if you're Darius, you pretty much have to try and slow the game down. Your opponent has Exciton Knight that they can't really use. So he just summons comma 2, attacks directly and bounces. So at least you get some damage in. And the spells are locked in the graveyard for now. Unless he wants to use Valkyris or something. That's the only way I would see him being able to... Okay, so he does take the damage. I'm like, maybe he wants to use Valkyris. Alright, nice top deck. Looks like he's going to let his effect go through. Now, if he only plays 1 Trishula, that would be the only Trish that you have to worry about this game. So whenever you deprison a Trishula, it's like, just... I mean, you just feel really good. But a lot of people are playing like 2 Trishulas now, so... It's kind of like a backup Trishula. Either way, I don't think with even... I can't really think of what that back row card could be other than another copy of Lose a Turn where he could come back and potentially win. And that would kind of require... Like, that would require Lose a Turn and for him to, like, top deck comma 3. Like, if he had those 2 cards, then yeah, he could definitely come back. Alright, so he's going to Rhoda. Although he got Nekroz of Gungnir, which can totally out Lose a Turn, to be honest. All you have to do is just blow it up during your opponent's turn. It's like the only card in the deck that really goes with lose 1 turn. The rest of the deck just doesn't really do anything to the card. Alright, so what are you going to do, James Brown? He has a Shurita, he has a Gungnir. I mean, if he wants to summon Gungnir, he has to obviously pitch a spell. Okay, there's the spell. Nekroz Cycle. If I had a Mind Crush, I'd definitely call Shurita. Okay. Probably going to try and summon Gungnir in defense mode. That's kind of weird. That gets hit with Bottomless. Okay. Why would he summon it in defense mode? Was he expecting like a Mirror Force or something like that? Alright, so he gets a Nekroz of Briotic. And... I mean, I guess he'll just have to attack for 1400 unless he has like another ritual spell in his hand. He does, in fact, attack for 1400. I think I said 400. Combat 3 would be the perfect top deck here. Or a Tenki. That'd be the same thing. Actually, Tenki would be better. Alright, so instead, doesn't get the combat that he needed, but he does get the run over. Does get the run over Yosenju. But I mean, he still needs a floodgate, man. Either Mistake or something really, really good. Mistake would probably get him back in the duel too, because it would stop that Brio effect. James Brown does not use Brio. I mean, you're gonna keep seeing comma 2 come down like forever. If for no other reason, you just keep attacking directly, keep doing 950. Eventually, it adds up. So he uses it on Phoenix Chain. That was unexpected. He can actually activate the effect. No way. He has to. He doesn't have to. What's it called? He doesn't have to actually. No. Oh well, another Fiendish chain. Another Fiendish chain on Exiton Knight. What? Are you serious? Another Fiendish chain? Okay, so he's gonna attack directly. That second Fiendish chain like saved him there. That should go to his hand. The Kamatu. That should definitely go to his hand. Okay. And I don't really know where you go. Like, I kind of feel like this duel is, I kind of feel like it's moving. It's kind of like the momentum is swinging back to Darius, because the thing about Nekroz is if you what's it called? If you have a monster on board and it's not attacking or it's not using its effect, I feel like you're not winning unless it's the Genlock. That's the only exception. The worst thing that can happen to Nekroz is you get a monster that's Fiendish chained and then it's clogging up your board, and your opponent, rather than kills the monster, just leaves it there, so you can't get your spells back. Tellarknights do the best job of this, because with a Tellarknight setup, then you obviously go for Trevor. If you go for Trevor, then you get to spin the monster, you get to take a card out of your opponent's hand, and you get your Fiendish chain back. That's like the nuts. So he ends up having the mistake. I feel like the momentum is like all going back to Darius, because he slowed the game down so much. Both times, every time Exiton has tried to activate, it has been met with a Fiendish chain, and little by little, he's getting these pokes in, and these pokes are working. Now, Comma 3 obviously doesn't matter anymore, because, he doesn't have what's it called. And actually, it's ironic, he actually gets to Comma 3, and James Brown ends up scooping it up. Oh my goodness. I just think that's crazy, because the momentum was so heavily in James Brown's favor in the first couple of turns. You would have thought that he would have won the game. He went for a huge Exiton play. He had the MST for lose one turn. I really thought that he had all the advantage. Like, even though card advantage was basically even, I felt like he was like +2. I felt like he had pretty much everything, and the Fiendish chains really just slowed him down, because it left him a monster that he couldn't attack with. The monster couldn't even defend him, because he still was taking attacks. That's the word. I think that's the epitome of the worst. When you have a monster on board, you can't kill that monster because it can't attack. It can't run into something. The monster can't attack. Obviously, having a monster clogs up your ability to get your spells, and then the monster can't even defend you because your opponent's attacking directly. But again, I have seen this. I have seen Tellarknights do that. The Tellarknight player will sometimes Fiendish chain a Valkyrus, and you kind of just let the Valkyrus sit on the field for 2 or 3 turns, and then you Trevor your opponent. You bounce the Fiendish chain, you bounce the Valk, you obviously Trevor attack, and then you try and take a card out of their hand, and sometimes that's enough momentum to swing the match back into the Tellar player's favor. But this was an example of Fiendish chain just putting work in. If you can stop, Fiendish chain was better right there than killing the monster ever could have been. Like, it would have been, it's better than Mirror Force or Dimensional Prison or anything like that. James Brown going first against Yosenju, a deck that always wants to go second. I'm gonna have to question that. I'm not exactly like a Nekroz expert when it comes to playing the deck, but I know that Yosenju never want to go first ever. It doesn't matter what the matchup is. They never want to go first. Maybe against an FTK like Chicken Race Explosion or something, you want to go first. Maybe you get a breakthrough skill and you just win off of it or something. But in this TCG meta, I don't see how going first with Nekroz is ever good against Yosenju. Especially if you see some of the side deck cards like Necro Valley and stuff like that. Alright, so he summons Valkyrus, draws 2. He'll start probably trying to dig for some spells. Personally, I don't think that this was the right play. Because I feel like the only advantage you gain from going first with Nekroz is potentially drawing Royal Decree. against Yosenju. That's it. That is the only reason you'd ever want to go first. It's like, oh, I drew my roll decree and I won off of it. Other than that, there's what reason to go first? Like, all the monsters that you throw out there are terrible against them. They don't give a fuck about the gem lock. They don't give a fuck about Unicorn. They don't give a fuck about any of the monsters you summon, because Kama2 can attack directly, and they have Sujin. They can get over your monsters easily. And then Kama 1 could just be like bounce, 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 bounce. So they don't give a fuck about anything that you do other than roll decree. Alright, so Darius obviously knows he doesn't have to deal with roll decree. And normal summons Kama 1 and Kama Sujin. He better pray that that's James Brown, you better pray that that's a fire hand, bro, because if that's like an ice hand or a Jin, that would be terrible. Because I don't understand why he's setting though. What if it's ice hand? So he opts not to attack. I think he may have been thinking about a fire hand. So he opted not to attack. Says, I'm just going to play defensively. I'll play passively. Would have been interesting to see what monster he would have ended up getting off of that 10K. I think he would have went for Kama 3 just to try and make some advantage. He could have went for Kama 2. The shit worked so well last game. It kind of won him the duel. Let's see if he has that mistake or that lose one turn or anything like that. Now, the thing is, he did burn the Twister. So, like, you'd have to think that he'd be very susceptible to floodgate cards now. Like, you had your turn 1 piece of removal and you burnt it. You know what I mean? And you burnt it on a 10-key too. Like, I don't really think that that's a great play. Macro Cosmos. Wow, where did that come from? Alright, so if nothing else, Macro Cosmos will stop the Herald of the Arclight from hitting the graveyard if that's what he wants to send. Although James Brown could hypothetically change his play. Like, he could say, well, instead of going 4, I'm gonna go 8 now. I'm gonna summon 2 Unicorns. I'm gonna go 12. I'm gonna send a Quasar from the Banished Zone. Okay, so why did Macro go to the graveyard? Okay, I believe that Darius probably misclicked. Now, what's really, really good about Macro is that, yeah, that Kaleido Mirror gets banished, which means he's no longer going to have to worry about not having monsters. Oh, and it was Fire Hand. Oh, he made an excellent read here. I guess he's going back for Exiton. This guy cannot get enough of Exiton Knight. Oh, Solemn Warning. GG no re. That is getting wrecked right now. To quote Kami from Dragon Ball the Abridged series, I believe that is what the young kids call getting wrecked. Yeah, I'm not really sure how you come back from that. But the Solemn Warning, and that was just a hell of a read by Darius not to attack. He ends up top decking a Kama 2, and now it's about to be potentially lights out, and you see James Brown just scoop it up immediately. He knows that he's going to take a ton of damage. At main phase 2, Darius would have had the ability to, well, it looks like he had the answer. He had the answer anyway for Exiton Knights. In main phase 2, he clearly would have been able to make, I don't know, Tiger King to get another search. Or he could have just put all his guys in his hand and just tried to OTK him next turn. Yosenju definitely getting it in. Thank you guys for watching as always.